Hey y'all, Brian here for Work to Game Videos, and today I'd like to break down my thoughts and impressions of the patch 3.5 information that was released with Live Letter 33. That was on November 25th, actually, as of this morning. So, the name of the patch starts off, that's kind of the first big reveal, and it's The Far Edge of Fate, in which you kind of have the Warrior Light a little bit off-center, surrounded by Alice, Alphino, Papalimo, and Ida, which I think from just the image in of itself, it looks really cool and has me obviously very excited for patch 3.5. So, in my opinion, nothing too revolutionary that was revealed. We're kind of have this very familiar cadence with the patches, and so with that, I'm going to go ahead and just break down the information that was released. That was shared with us. I think some really exciting stuff. Some stuff that I know I personally have been waiting a very long time to see. So hopefully you're just as excited as I am. So all right, I guess first up, new content. Obviously, new main scenario quests will be added. That'd be weird if they didn't. It'd be the one patch. No story, no story. But and then obviously new Warring Triad quests are going to be added. New side quests are going to be added. So we're going to get the Scholasticate, Hildebrand's, Heaven's Word Adventures, and the Anima Weapon Story quest is going to continue. And they said they got some feedback saying that the current step as a patch 3.4, 3.45 is too easy. So they're saying to please look forward to the next step. So either it's going to just be the same or they're going to try to purposely make you suffer for that kind of feedback. I don't know. All right, so then we went into new dungeons. I'm probably going to butcher some stuff. Balthur's Wall. It's obviously the wall to device Gerbania from the rest of Eorzea. Some of this has kind of been hinted at with the 4.0 reveal, and so that's going to be pretty cool. They provided some screenshots of what that's going to look like. I think it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff. So I'm looking forward to going there with this update. And then we're going actually, and this is a surprise to me, Som Al Hard. So obviously from 3.0 we climbed up Som Al, and this time we're going down into the mountain. Actually, not as what I was thinking. For some reason I was thinking Sorkai when I was just recording this. So it's actually, so that makes sense because I always liked that dungeon. I think it was great. It's the first time you encounter Nidhogg, and so now we're going to be going down into the mountain, which is great because I was like, wait a minute, did we just go there? All right, so new 24-man, the Dun Saith, or essentially the Fortress of Shadows, showed off some screenshots of that as well. So this is going to be kind of the conclusion of that raid, with the exception that they're saying there might be some loose ends that they don't tie up. So maybe some stuff of that will continue, which will be pretty exciting. And so obviously they've said this before. First boss is going to be on an airship. Others are going to be in different districts of the fortress. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Now they did kind of tease that in Ozma you could fall off but be revived. And it's possible that in this case you can fall off but not be revived, aka Titan. That's at least what was hinted on in the stream. And so who knows? We'll go from there. So, all right. So then we got new trials, the Containment Bay Z1T9. So this time we're going to be facing the Demon of the Warring Triad, which looks exciting. Obviously, we're going to have an extreme mode of that as well. And then this should put the Warring Triad to reach its kind of final quest. And Regula is going to play a centerpiece here in this storyline, so please look forward to it. That's gonna be great. All right, and then so last in 3.4 we got the Wondrous Tales, and so with Zoe Apollo, she's getting an expanded role with 3.5 and 3.55. Essentially, a new book for crafter and gatherer contents is going to be released. So they're going to actually have requests from NPCs, and then you're going to get fame from those NPCs for, I guess, for crafting items or gathering items for them in this case. They're going to add more NPCs to the system in future patches, and when they start, it's actually going to be with new NPCs. But then with later updates, they're going to make it possible for existing NPCs that are in the game to give us these types of requests for that system. So that's actually pretty exciting. I think for me, the Wondrous Tales was a highlight of patch 3.4, and so I'm actually pretty excited about this. I've got all my gatherers at 60, and that's pretty much what I use them for. And then I haven't really revisited that, and so having another reason to go back and check that out might be a lot of fun, in my opinion. So anyway, that's going to be really interesting. Now, then they moved on into the Diadem 2.0, essentially that pre-existing missions are going to be heavily updated. So they've been hinting at this for a long time. Diadem came out with 3.1, and necessarily it was interesting. I did it one a couple times, but it essentially, I guess, it lacked a lot of structure. I don't know if this is good or bad, but essentially they're going to be bringing in hunting exploratory missions and gathering exploratory missions, and then players can earn equipment by completing the duty requirements, and disciples of the land can actually complete duty requirements just by gathering. Missions will also include boss battles requiring, and they said 4 parties is what they had listed. You'll be determining which missions you want to participate in. The map itself will change to what it was before. Unlike the old Diadem, this will have mostly guided content as opposed to just fly around and kill stuff. So, and they said that this is coming in 3.5x. Diadem won't be available during the time when 3.5 is released and 3.5x is released. And so this X could be 1 or 2 or who knows. So it's some kind of period between that. And then they're going to adjust the achievements of the system so that you're not going to lose out on the ability to get a Diadem achievements once this new system goes live. So they've been working on this for quite a while. And so obviously with 4.0, we know that they were getting the land of Eureka. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this impacts the overall system and see if this gives us any kind of foreshadowing into 4.0 Eureka. I don't know. So essentially, I guess that people feel that the Diadem wasn't necessarily well received. It had some major issues. I thought it was a beautiful area, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this does, and maybe this will help revitalize people to go in and jump in with that as well. So. All right, so then they go into kind of more system updates, and I think some of this stuff is pretty interesting. So Party Finder updates, they talked about Crossserver Party Finder, essentially Crossworld, shifting us more into a worldless model. Thought it was pretty cool. Showed some screenshots of what that's going to look like. And so just going to break down the base information for you here and now. The window will change to allow a choice between server only and in the entire data center, or all Party Finder parties in both categories, meaning you can say, I only want to see stuff that's on my server. I want to see just anything that's open, or I can see both. So that way you can see that you can see Crossworld and server only in one area. You can recruit other players from other worlds or just on the same data center. So when you're doing your recruiting, you can kind of specify what it is. And there's reasons for this. Namely, they talk about that. Crossworld Party Finder is going to have to be content that is specific for the duty finder. So you're not going to be able to do something like the Aquapolis with the Crossworld system, because they wouldn't be able to queue up with you. So you could set up a party, but then they wouldn't be able to go in. So that's kind of the key point. But if it can be accessed to the duty finder, I'm also assuming the raid finder, that is going to hopefully address some of those issues as well. And so then players are going to be able to, you're going to be able to limit what you want, just so that way you don't end up, making a party and not being able to group together. You'll actually be able, when a player from another world joins your party, they'll actually be able to participate in party chat, no matter what world they're in. You'll be able to communicate with them, which is good. They'll also be able to, they're going to adjust the blacklist for this cross-world system. So that will be good, I guess, in case you run into some people and they, you don't want them coming back because maybe they weren't pleasant. Who knows? Hopefully we have very little of that. You'll be able to see the server in which the player or character that you're talking with is from. And then, like I said, the Diadem, content like Palace of the Dead and the Diadem are going to be somewhat adjusted later in the future to allow those contents to be accessible in the Crossworld system as well. So that's going to be really cool. So then they're also bringing in a couple other functions to the Party Finder, which we haven't had before. So Party Finder filters, obviously you're going to see, because due to what they're anticipating is a large number of recruitments, when you're talking about multiple worlds, you want to be able to filter to find the information that you want quicker. And then they're also going to allow for password locked parties, so you can restrict who can join, and if that way, if you only want your friends to join, or if you're doing a particular type of recruitment, you want to set it up and say, hey, here's our passcode. You look us up in Party Finder, and then that way you don't end up having a lot of people joining you when you might not want that. So that's actually, I think, a really good idea. And essentially, this is coming with 3.5, so it's not going to be in a subsequent patch during the 3.5 series. Then they moved over into PvP updates. So you've got Frontline, Dueling, and the Feast, and that's kind of all bundled in these PvP updates. So first, Frontlines is that players are going to have the option to be able to match without Grand Company requirements. This is really quite interesting. So they say that this is going to hopefully help improve match times. I think so overall. But you still actually have the option to specifically match into your specific Grand Company. I'm assuming this applies to all content that's within the Frontline system. They said they're also that in 4.0 we're going to be getting a bigger and different type of PvP content. I don't know if that's going to then take the place of what is essentially Frontlines now with the Grand Company requirement. Who knows? It was not clear in this case, but all in all, that's going to be pretty exciting in my opinion. You'll be able to obviously. Oh, and this is cool. So right now you can't have free company or link shell chat when you're in PvP, but now that is going away. So hopefully that will be something that helps out a lot of players, and they've been looking for that for a while. And you'll be able to obviously, like I said, participate specifically in your Grand Company, but I don't know what the default's going to be, and ideally I think that for the most people who just really want to get in and play, we'll probably see a much improved match time, be much faster. So that's going to be something I am specifically looking forward to doing some more of. All right, so then they go into dueling, and so they're going to say the ability to sync gear from item level 150 is going to be added, and then adding the ability to sync gear to the host's item level is going to be added. So that way you can set it to 150, which essentially is going to put you in par with the Feast. You can set your sync gear to that of your host, who I guess is initiating it. And then you can also say no gear sync like it is right now as well. And then obviously at the time, this is new, the time that the start of the duel, your abilities will be, timers will be reset. So that way you will have access to them. So if you want to duel and duel and duel again, you'll have that ability. What got me excited, and it didn't pan out, but the ability to sync gear to a host is actually essentially something I was asking about, similar, where we can sync our level to that of a host of a party. So hopefully this is them leading into that type of system soon. So anyway, the Feast is for that we're getting a new map introduced with patch 3.55 when the current season ends of the Feast, and then chat is going to be disabled during battles. So essentially what they were finding is that people weren't talking strategy; they were doing more harassing before the match was. So it ended up having, just this bad atmosphere, this attitude going into any particular fight. I know that sometimes when I would queue in, we'd have players who would, they'd be going for their, their rank up. And so they're like, real intense. And since we're not a preform party, we're just a match party, there's a bit of randomness to it. So there's a little bit. And so you'd end up sometimes queuing into some really great people, fair enough. But also at the same time, queuing into some people who are like, oh, I'm going for rank up. Don't, explicit. And so it could be kind of just jarring. I think a lot of things. So they're actually adding in these auto-translate targeting actions, and they show them off. And I hopefully have a screenshot for that. But essentially, it looks really cool, and these actions are going to be for the Feast only. So I'm really looking forward to playing with that. And so, obviously, if you go in with a preformed party, you can be in voice chat and be doing that as well. So it's not like that's going away. But these targeting action auto translate options for the Feast, I think, are going to be much enjoyed. We'll see if people spam those as well, or who knows how that's going to end up playing out, but we'll find out here actually not that long from now. All right, then next they moved over into Chocobo companion updates, and so this is something that they've been talking about for a long time, and so they were kind of hinting at it, I think, with actually patch 2.3. So this is a long time that they were really kind of striving for this. One of the biggest issues with your Chocobo companion, and the reason why, unless you're planning on really just going out and not doing anything with the duty finder, you might bring out your Chocobo companion, or you might totally forget about him. You're going to go out and you're like, oh, and then do I need to go back and get him because if I've got him stabled somewhere? And so essentially here's what they're doing. You're going to be able to use the duty finder while your Chocobo companion is present, and how they're going to manage that is that Chocobo companions are no longer going to appear as party members, but they're going to appear as pets to you. So the same way Summoner and Scholar use pets, so is your Chocobo. And don't worry, Summoner and Scholars, you're going to be able to have your summon out at your that pet out, as well as being able to have your Chocobo pet out. And now essentially what this is going to enable is it's going to enable full parties to be able to have each of them have their own Chocobo, so you can have a full party of 8, and everybody's got their Chocobo as a part of that. So this will be interesting to see, what people use to take advantage of that. It'd be really interesting to see if they start enabling that feature in other types of content like the Diadem, but that's just speculation on my behalf at this time. So in order to see the HP of a party member's Chocobo and not your own, you're going to have to target that Chocobo at this time. And so they kind of made that kind of a critical thing. I don't care. Just the ability to be able to queue with my Chocobo companion out is huge. I know when they made it to where you could have any other type of mount when you're using your Chocobo was huge as well. And so now this is, in this case, going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to checking that out and playing out with this system and being able to do this. I really always enjoyed it. It wasn't the best because you don't have a lot of control over them, but anyway, I approve. All right, so then they moved over into Eggy Changes, which they've been talking about for a long time as well. And so they're going to say that we can change the outward appearance of Garuda, Titan, and Ifrit, which can be altered. Great. And so essentially this is going to unlock with completing a relevant quest. So this is the Eggy Glamour system. Changes to your, we'll be able to change our Eggy's appearance by using text commands, and that's good. That's good. I don't know if there's going to be actually like actions that you can use, or if they're just saying they're adding this line to let you know that you can use actions or text commands for macros, in the case like of me who loves macros. Other players will also be able to see our altered Eggy's appearance, which is good. Hopefully, the question I guess will end up coming down to the wire is if somebody thinks that we do have Carbuncle out and they're like, you need to have Garuda, and we're like, I do. We'll see how that plays out and how that actually works and completes. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure they thought of that as well. Patch 3.5 will only allow players to change their Eggy's appearance to Carbuncle at this time. In the later patches, they're going to be adding in more ways to glamour your Eggy, which will be really exciting. And no word yet on if that's each one is going to be a quest or quested, but for the most part, at least the system will be a quest-based thing to unlock. And then they said that your appearance changes are going to be saved even if you log out. And resummoning the Eggy after you've altered its appearance will return that the altered appearance of it. So it's not like, it doesn't sound like, at least from what I gathered, that it's going to be always changing, etc. So you're not going to have to do a lot of work there. Hopefully, we'll see. And then more content, 3.5 updates to the Novice Network, which basically allow players to confirm that they wish to join the network before when they've been invited. Right now, it kind of just throws them in. And then players will actually be able to opt out of the Novice Network if they choose to do so. So a little bit more control there for Novice Network players. And then support for returning players is a feature that's being brought into the game. This sounds pretty interesting. So that if you've been on a break for like 45 days plus, when you come back in, you'll be able to have a couple of features that is for returning players. So you can kind of set your status to returning player. And so that I guess people know that you're coming back after at least 45 days. And then you'll be able to opt into the Novice Network. You'll be able to gain experience by forming a party with a mentor. And then in order to participate in this, obviously besides the 45 days, you'll need to be at least level 50 or above as a returning player. And that's going to be a requirement for that. Additional updates, the ability to preview item colors on the equipment screen, as well as paintings are going to be added as furnishings. They say these are not screenshots, but these are like paintings from the game, and that you can actually unlock either the ability to purchase those or unlock those by completing items by challenges in your sightseeing log to gather new paintings. All right, and so then as far as kind of a general idea for the release date, this is pretty good. So we're thinking part 1 in mid January. That sounds pretty good. That actually, in my opinion, gives me a nice good month and a half to beat Final Fantasy 15, and then can be able to get excited and jump back into Final Fantasy 14 on a more consistent basis as we lead into 4.0. And then they're saying that patch 3.55, which is going to be part 2 of the conclusion of the Heaven's Word expansion, should be around sometime in March. Now, for anybody who was around for the 2.0 to 3.0 transition, very similar cadence to this. So they have part 2. Now, they did get feedback with 2.55, with basically part 2 of that there was, with such a cliffhanger, there was such a gap between that and 3.0. And so that they're, depending on those factors in the expansion, we could see part 2 maybe slip past March or in late March at this time. So there's no real solid dates on part 2 at this time. So it just really kind of depends on where they are with 4.0. So we're still anticipating 4.0 being sometime around June in 2017. So that's going to be really great. And then, so this was kind of part 1, of the 3.5 information. So in part 2, we should see a lot more video of the content they're showing, like the dungeons with the new raid, etc. And so the next live letter actually will, they'll have a new live letter which will cover part 2 of 3.5. And in this case, we're going to see that around the Japanese Fan Festival, which the dates appear to be December 24th and through the 25th, around that time frame. So not only will we be getting patch 3.5, more information there, but we're also going to be getting more information on 4.0. So all this is coming together, and it's going to be really, really exciting to see as we go into 2017, the future of Final Fantasy 14 for that. So far it's been a fantastic year for the game. And so this pretty much kind of somewhat concluded the live letter. Then they ended up bringing in a special guest for that, and frankly, I'm just going to stick with the information regarding patch 3.55 as a part of this video. So with that, they ended up, and this was really awesome. Had a music video. You could see the Primals, and you could see Koji rocking out. And so they showed that off during their break, and that's essentially a compilation that's coming on the Duality album, which releases, I think it was December the 7th. I'll have to check my notes, but we'll go from there. Anyway, and so this pretty much concluded the information for patch 3.5. Really great information. Nothing like mind-blowingly, things that they haven't talked about. So there wasn't any kind of curveballs of any new systems. So we're getting, so far at least, nothing else, 2 new dungeons, more story, new systems that are going to hopefully help improve the quality of life. And even though, like with this, I think this is pretty basic, they're obviously always kind of put little things in, into the updates, which always kind of go a long way. So we're going to find out more, like I said, here in pretty much less than a month. So not too much longer than that. And then I think probably about a month after that, we're going to see 3.5 go live on the servers, which will be really great. So guys, let me know what you think about this video. This is the first time really covering a live letter. Really shout out to Marco Turn. He was doing the translation that I was watching. I was taking notes for this. I couldn't, obviously we couldn't do it without him. So give him a like and a follow. I'll try to make sure I put a link into the description below if you haven't heard of this guy. Really great translator. And it's been helping out the 14 community in this case for a very long time. And let me know if you have any questions below regarding patch 3.5 or Final Fantasy in general. So with that, I'm Brian from Work to Game Videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.